I've been thinking about, I'm kind of reluctant to speak, but I'll start out by saying, I am my father's son.
Taught me how to be a man by simply being one. Born with my hero, I am my father's son.
Mr. Russell, your towering presence will be overseeing a new day in the plaza. And for the world, it will exorcise images of confusion, of billowing hate, and of flags wielded as bayonets against neighbors. You paid for this space for us. You paid for this space by carrying the weight of our ignorance and our intolerance for years on your back. Yet, you were still able to make giant strides and lift off and blot out the basket and the sun, it seemed to those who would oppose Celtic dominance. You were able to thrill in a world not yet ready to receive you.
It's a great tribute to Bill that finally he's being recognized for the greatness that he showed here in Boston in an era when people were not going to grant him his greatness. And I just want to say it's been a pleasure to be on the committee and to see the beautiful statue that will be here in what I think is Champions Plaza. The great Bill Russell will lead the pack. Thank you.
This is a guy we're all proud of, because when he played basketball in Boston, it wasn't easy to be a black man in Boston, let me tell you. It's a much different city today. When Bill Russell played, wasn't one of the things we look to, but Bill Russell made it. He broke that line, and today we are in Bill Russell.
While I'm quite flattered with this tall veneer on this statue business, I told Tom when we first saw him, I said, I don't want that, Tom. He said, why not? I said, there are a few reasons. For one, statues remind me of tombstones. And second, is something that ends up in a target for pigeons. And he says, well, I says, Tom, I want you to understand something. I'll be perfectly satisfied to be buried in an unmarked grave. He said, well, why is that? I said, because if you really seriously believe in God, no joking about it or anything, really believe in God, He does not need a marker to find it. And I basically don't care if anybody else finds it.
He let me know in his opinion that I would be second to none. Born with my hero, I am my father's son.
I've never done anything extraordinary. That's what my father's telling me.
The reality is he endured so much that it could have hardened him against people who feared him or hated him because of who he was, what he looked like. He endured being despised, misunderstood, without his heart closing up. Actually, it opened up even more to those willing to really see who he was as a human being.
Bill Russell came to Boston to join the Celtics in 1956, the year I was born. And from that time forward through his career, he has stood up for civil and human rights and social justice. And every time he did that, It made America and my life better.
Bill Russell always knew that playing in the NBA gave you an opportunity to change the world, and he has been a beacon for so many young players who listen to him and respect him. Even you, Charles. Okay. Bill knows exactly what he's going to say, and he thinks about it. But Bill is never one to look for accolades, and we know that he thinks today is special, and that makes it special for us. And it is so fitting to have this statue here, right in the most important place in Boston, because Bill's relationship, and it should be said, with Boston wasn't always perfect, but this completes a wonderful, wonderful, virtuous circle.
In 2006, William Russell met Nelson Mandela. I think it was a meeting that had been cosmically in the making for decades. A kindred spirit, born a black male child in a repressive society, with a light in each of them so bright that no amount of restriction and degradation could snuff it out. Mandela had spent the prime of his life in literal isolation, and Russell, though surrounded by fans and limelight, as a trailblazer, endured a kinship kind of isolation. Mandela fought his way out of being branded a terrorist, an evil man bent on destruction, when he was a true son of South Africa, dedicated to a non-racial nation building. Russell fought his way out of being accused of being aloof, hard, and uncaring, when actually he was an introverted, accidental celebrity in our cult of personality culture. Because both these men were fueled essentially by love. Mandela rose to the presidency of South Africa. Russell rose to the Medal of Freedom, the highest American civilian honor. It is an amazement and a blessing to have lived in the time of Mandela. It is a wonder and a joy to have lived to see William Felton Russell ascend.
I spoke in a school in Fort Worth, Texas. And I was when the Vietnam War was winding down. And in my speech I said, what we should do is divert all that money we wasted on war and rebuild our school system. It's getting a little frayed around the edges. And so after the speech, the guy walked to me and said, what you talk about is raising my taxes. Why should I pay taxes to educate other people's kids? I said, there are two reasons. One, when you got to be 6 years old, and your folks pulled you up and sent you up to school, your folks did not build that school. It was there. And besides that, there are no other people's kids in the United States. That's the next generation of Americans. And we want to keep our society and our country vital, important. We have to build a solid foundation. And the only way you can build a solid foundation is to educate the next generation.
He taught me I should always do the best that I could. And it's better that I understand than I be understood. Some of Daddy's lessons took a while to understand, but he taught me every child of God is the child of every man.
Bill Russell has contributed, as you've heard, to our sport and all sports in various ways, as a mentor, a teammate, as the first African-American coach in professional sport, as one of the greatest champions in the history of team sports, of course as a civil rights leader. But when I became commissioner, at a time when people questioned whether a black sport could ever be successful, it struck me that the NBA had something to teach America. Because if Bill Russell and Conley Heinsohn could do it together on the basis of teamwork and talent, then there was something that was going on that could make us all better.
My ex-college coach, Bill Reinhardt, played USF. He told me when Bill was a sophomore, he says, there's a kid out there you better keep your eye on pretty good. He's going to be one of the greatest.
First time I ever met Bill Russell was on the basketball court during a holiday festival in New York. And I was considered to be a pretty good hotshot player at the time. And I can remember faking him out, proceeding in for a nice easy layup, and it got swatted right back in my face by this guy. And he proceeded to take the game of basketball and revolutionize it. Defense, and they're still trying to emulate in the current game what he did back then. As a person, as a competitor, and all our teammates will attest to this, that he was as fierce a competitor as you'd ever hope to play with.
Bill Russell is the reason why I wanted to be a Celtic. Bill Russell is the reason why I am a Celtic. And to see this day here was just so special in so many ways. Because Bill Russell, his sacrifices gave me the life that I have today. His willingness to stand tall have given us the world that we live in today. A world of freedom, a world of choice, a world of acceptance. And this event today was absolutely spectacular in so many levels. You had all these different forces and constituents that came together in a moment of joy, happiness, and pride. And what a great celebration, because the world is often very tough and very hard. And Bill Russell was able to unite our world and to get people to overcome their differences and willingly sacrifice for a greater goal.
We had an all-star game in Los Angeles. And the night before, we always have a banquet. And Chick Hearn was the radio announcer and the TV guy from the Lakers. And he says, Los Angeles is the basketball capital of the world. So Red said, bullshit. That's the way that works. You're a diplomat. He says, until they win something, they ain't nothing. So I invited my father down to be my roommate for the All-Star game. And so we go back to our hotel and he says, damn it. I said, what? He said, you need to shut up about that basketball company. I said, what are you talking about? He said, Red's right, they ain't won nothing. So I said, oh, do you feel that way about it? He said, yeah. I said, okay. Tell you what I'll do. Tomorrow night in the All-Star game, you'll win the game, and I'll be the MVP. He says, you that good? I get to the game, and Oscar walks up and he says, now Oscar was very, diplomatic. And so, blacky, 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 blacky. He says, tell you what, Russ, you take care of defense, I'll take care of the offense. And so, we kicked the hell out of him. And so, my father, on the way back to our hotel, my father said, I knew you had to leave.
I loved what Bill said today about the team, and that it was not about him, and it was about winning. And while not everybody can win, he did all the time. And the way he would predict victory in such an understated, classy, graceful way. And to be a small part of his Boston Celtics, I'm the luckiest guy in the world.
I was really in love with my career. Every minute of it that I played for Celtics were a joy to me. From there, I couldn't go to heaven because leaving there and going anyplace else was a step down.
We were playing Philadelphia, and great Will Chamberlain was playing, and we always had troubles with the great Will Chamberlain. But we were about to knock them out of the playoffs. And Bill, with 3 seconds left in the game, decided he was going to inbound the ball with us having a 1-point lead. And he took the ball out of bounds, and he proceeded to try and inbound it, and it hit the guide wire. And we lost possession of the ball. So with 3 seconds left to go in this game, they have the possibility with the great Will Chamberlain to beat us and knock us out of the playoffs. So stupidly, they call a timeout. Because this is what happened in this timeout. Bill Russell walked into the huddle and he said, "Somebody get me off the hook." Now I want to tell you, very easily, all of us could have said, well, you're making the most money, you're getting the most publicity, get yourself off the hook. But that's not what happened. Because what happened was, everybody reflected back and remembered how many times he saved our bacon when we made a mistake. And of course, what happened when they went back into play is they tried to inbound the ball, and Johnny Most went crazy up in the balcony. Havlicek stole the ball! Havlicek stole the ball!
seemed to come down from a cloud. It was a day my father said to me, "My son, you made me proud." And I appreciate these honors for the things they said I've done. But the thing that I'm most proud of is I am my father's son.
This is the perfect now. Any other time would have been too soon. We had to develop into deserving this moment by committing ourselves to the young people in our midst, by opening our eyes to each other's perspectives. Ann Hirsch, you were preparing all this time to make this statement in bronze about the giant among us, this champion man, this baller extraordinaire.
Of all the things that have happened to me in my life, the single most important thing is the friends that I've made. And my friends they have no race or color, no religion or not, and no political views or not. If I can come to the conclusion that they're good people, that's all that matters.
Bill Russell makes people think, laugh, and cry. Bill Russell sets a standard of excellence in everything that he does, that he challenges us to be better than we can ever become on our own.
From the first thing I can remember, my father and my mother loved me. And so I go out into the world knowing I must be okay if they love me. And I look through this audience and I see some friends. And the most important thing to me are the friends that I've made. There's nothing better than that. If you have someone that you think about it, and you don't think of what they can do for you, but you think, what can you do to enhance their life? And you know that nobody, you can't love anybody unless they let you. And I look through stories, I see a few people that let me be friends. And I in turn let them be friends. Now my father left Louisiana and moved to Oakland, California. And we lived in the projects, and it was one bedroom. So my brother and I both had rollover beds. And still, there was constantly a flow of people from Louisiana that my father would let them stay with us until they could establish. And we didn't have much. But philosophically, my father said, he adhered to that poem. It is not what we give, but what we share. For the gift without the giver is bare.
And if I've said this 1,000 times, here comes 1,001. Born with my heroes, I am my father's son.
Philosophically, all I've ever done was to try to never shame my father. That when he was about 75, he says to me one day, "You know I love you." Now, that's the first time he said it. It was the way he acted. Okay? So, I says, "Well, thank you." He says, "But I want to tell you something. I am really proud of you." That's the first time he said that. He said, "I'm proud that you're my son. I'm equally proud that I'm your father. Because I think you turned out okay."
Born with my heroes, I am my father's son.